concept of what this CV would demand?
Yeah, certainly not by name, but fundamentally we're looking for a leader. And as someone earlier said, leaders are hard to find. All the characteristics of leadership, someone that has the ability to create a vision, lead people and inspire people on the journey to achieve that vision, which you've articulated has to be winning finals games of football and the ultimate grand final. You know, ideally, in a perfect world, if you could find somebody with the football experience and business acumen and business skills required to run what is essentially a big business, you know, that would be first prize. Some people say it's a finite pool in football world, and that may be the case, but we will cast this net far and wide. As I said, it's a responsibility of the board to make sure we do find the very best person to lead the club, and I can assure you we will.
Stephen, just on Carlton, first order of business being the hotbed surrounding the Bold House. I mean, that's just been an enormous issue for that football club and his contract going forward.
I think there's a lot of initial tasks. Given the time frame, as the priority will be getting to know the place and the people and budgets and list management and who's who in the zoo, basically. But with regards to particular individuals, I'll leave it aside in terms of any judgment. I think that would be quite sincerely premature, because you need to get to know people. I've spoken to Mick a couple of times over the years, but I don't really know him. I'm looking forward to working with him. What I do know prima facie is that he's 700 and something games, and the tenure and success that he's had in the game just demands respect, whether you are his CEO or you are a supporter.
Whether it's right or wrong, a lot of people have given you flack for what happened in 2012 with the Kurt Tippett situation. If that didn't happen, would you still be the CEO going forward?
I don't think it's changed a thing in terms of the timing. I don't think it's changed a thing. And look, Tom, call us prophetic if you want to, but I genuinely believe, and I think maybe a couple of you in the room offline have heard me say this, I genuinely believe that if you respect the game, it respects you back. And yeah, we made a blue or two along the way. You know, personally lucky to have such supportive people around me to back in continuation. Maybe that says something about the previous decade of performance, by the way, but you know, very lucky to have that support. But I genuinely believe right throughout, call it as it is, we respected the game. I respected the game, and I've seen it happen before where usually it respects you back, and hopefully that's the case. It wouldn't change anything in terms of the timing now, Tom.
Stephen, would it sadden you, rightly or wrongly, if that was what you most remembered for this club?
Yeah, look, I hope it's not. I mean, when you've been doing it for 12 years and there's so much that happens over that period of time, and so much strength that's you leave the club with, that there'll be some who'll wish to put it as a headline and put it in neon. As Rob's articulated already, I'd like to think that obviously the AFL have put it behind them. Other clubs have. We have internally. I promise you. We've put it away internally. We've learnt from it. We're better set up as a club governance-wise for it. We are. I genuinely feel more knowledgeable, more empowered by it in a strange way. So it's in every other way it's behind us.
Rob, which coach are you main man now for the 3 months of haggling with the SMA? Who's going to be the...
Hopefully it won't be 3 months, Michelangelo. Hopefully it won't be 3 months. We'll break the back of it in 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah. Who will take on the acting CEO role after Stephen leaves in 4 weeks' time?
So a couple of points to make on that. Nigel Smart for all off-field activities or commercial activities. People will, call Nigel the point of contact, and Nigel will just report directly through to the board, just like Stephen would. And same for on-field football, up through David Noble, and David Noble direct to the board. Read the SMA question, Michelangelo. Naturally I've been there since day one. I think there's only a couple of us that have been there since day one, so I know the history of it, the mechanics of it, and having done this job for 6 months at a time which was quite pivotal in these negotiations and right across it. You know, as I said, we're a very collegiate industry. Mark, Stephen have agreed to stay on for the 4 weeks. I believe we genuinely break the back of it in that period of time, given the first meeting, which I won't elaborate any further on. And, you know, look, if there'll be just threads left for me to pick up after that. But look, Shane Smallacombe, Nigel Smart, amongst others, Stephen will assist in that.
I think in your opening remarks, sorry, can I just ask, in your opening remarks, you mentioned the word regret when you sort of referred to the Tippett saga. Is that the way? Just tell us a bit about your the way you look back on that and using that word regret.
Well, I regret allowing it to happen, and that it created such hurt. But in every other way, as I said, it's behind us. You would expect me to say this, but I'm not going to trudge back over it today and unpack it all again. We did learn a lot about ourselves as a club and individually, and learnt from it. I think people who say that they leave with no regrets, maybe, I'm not sure how honest that is in the end, regardless of what your CV looks like. You're always going to regret something, I reckon, but you know, I've spoken about a couple of them in terms of finishing, but otherwise I have to say I'm really, this is not just sort of to turn it back on itself, but I'm really genuinely proud of what we've been able to do in my 12 plus years as CEO and the rest, so really proud of everything that's happened at the footy club.
I'll go with a double barrel if it's the last one. Has Nigel Smart hurt himself by what he's done in the past 12 months, particularly the state jumper issue, and do you actually need someone from the outside? Is there a benefit in getting someone from the outside?
Well, last component of that double barrel first is, as I said, we're not doing our job properly unless we go to market, and after we've, you know, jotted down the necessary skills and person specification, we'll go to market and have a look what's out there. Re the first part is Nigel damaged himself. You know, I think Stephen's a good example. I mean, that was an error of judgment. It wasn't solely Nigel's, and I wouldn't dump that at his feet. Nigel's a very capable and competent person, and I love his passion. I really do. I love the fact that he's combative too with other football clubs, and I wouldn't want to sort of whack that out of him. But look, Nigel's been in the job 12 months, or a bit over, 14, 15 months, and he's a quality leader of people, and I think one day will make an exceptional CEO. I could say the same about David Noble, and I'll stop short by going through a whole list of people. As I said, it's a responsibility of management with some board oversight to offer everybody that opportunity to develop their careers. I don't think as a society we're very good at it, and we can do it better. I think we know we do it pretty well. And it's not as if we've got, going to some earlier questions, you know, if Nigel, David, Kate, Shane had all been in their jobs 7, 8, 9 years and are backing up, waiting for a CEO to go, we might be having a different conversation. There might be a different answer to some of the questions, but that's not the case. They're very new in their roles, so that's not the reason, you know, Stephen's, you know, vacating this.
Is there a strong benefit in going and taking someone from outside?
Yeah, look, I think the answer to that question generically is depending upon the life cycle and where you are as a football club. Sometimes it's better to go outside and get a fresh set of eyes. Sometimes it's easy to maintain that stability and the succession to recruit from within. Sometimes you're looking for more emphasis on the football side of it as opposed to the business acumen. So, look, we'll throw all of that into the mix. We've got a committee formed already. We're well advanced in our thinking. You'll see an ad in the national papers this weekend and on certain websites, and, you know, we're on the journey.
One of the questions that I think you guys will regret not asking, or at least come back to, is the idea of this 4 weeks, which is probably a little bit unusual when you're going to another club. You should understand, and the football community, our supporters should understand that the 4 weeks odd that it's going to be would be in I call it a limited capacity. You know, it's unusual. I think if I was going to another industry, then the 4 weeks is what it is, but in the event that you're going to another club, any potential conflict means that one's not going to be involved in list management decisions or in, you know, finance meetings, strategic meetings. And so we have a series of, it's not just Adelaide Oval, but a number of commercial projects that I'm keen to finalise in that period of time. And so call it limited capacity, but there'll be no conflict. But in every other way, still supporting the team as strongly as I can.
Carlton are comfortable with that?
They are, and look, I appreciate the question because they logically, at the time of the year, would want their new CEO to start yesterday. Ideally, at this end, it's the end of your playing season, etc. So the compromise that's been worked through is that in terms of the tenure. But be assured, there's no conflict because there's a level of trust here that get on and finalise the projects. Not involved in the sensitive things that I shouldn't be involved in, and we're smart enough to judge that. There'll be probably a better time or place than this, but maybe even when the last day comes here. But I've worked really closely with a number of you guys in the room, including some of the camos who I not only know on a first name basis, but share a coffee from time to time. And as I said before, it's a very logical approach to all this, but it's an emotional wrench when you've got so much invested into it and you make such great relationships inside your footy club and with good people sitting in front of me. So I want to thank you guys for your friendship and support as well.
Stephen, I know you want to wrap it. Are you emotional? Like, have you been emotional?
If you want me to cry, I could probably easily do that. I walked through. I said to the staff this morning that we're all different. I've tried to work through this logically and sensibly and dispassionately in a lot of ways. And then I walked through the locker room yesterday. It was quiet. There was no one there, and I found myself getting really emotional about it in my own little world, looking at the locker room. But I'm not going to get emotional in front of you because the little bloke who's a pugilist alongside me said, "You start crying in the media conference, I'll crack you." Because I've seen it happen before where he gets emotional and then runs out of the room. So I think we've held it together. The emotion's there, Tom, don't worry. You don't have this sort of attachment and this sort of love for the club without. I'm a life member here. I'm a long-term. I'll always have something of it in my heart. So there's emotional in there, don't worry.